In episode 8, right after Jeff gets off the phone with Shauna, he gets a knock at the door, and it's the police. Kevin has come calling with a search warrant this time. After they found Adam's body, that was sufficient enough to go searching the home of their number one suspect, Shauna. Jeff tries to act like this is ridiculous, but it's pretty obvious that he is scared. He tells the police that Shauna's not there, she's at a retreat with her friends, but they think that has more to do with Jeff kicking her out of the house after he found out about the cheating and then also what she might have done, i.e. kill Adam Martin. So Kevin sits with Jeff as Matt searches the house. The first place he searches is Callie's room. She's filming him the whole time, mocking the fact that this will never hold up in court. After all, what's a jury going to say when she puts on the waterworks and says how he took advantage of her? And he's not worried about that because Kevin didn't believe it in the first place. He actually flips it on her and says, well, when a jury finds out what a liar your mother is, they'll find out that the psychopath man-eating apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And that hurts Callie quite a bit. But after searching the house and finding virtually nothing, they sit down with Jeff and they start showing him the photos of Adam's torn up body. It's pretty gruesome. There's no head, there's no hands, there's no feet. And whoever did this was surgical about it. I mean, they really knew what they were doing. So much so that they actually destroyed his tattoos on his body. It looks like it was done by a cheese grater. The only reason they know it was Adam is because he donated bone marrow years ago. And through that bone marrow, they were able to identify him. They think it could be Shauna because, after all, she does have experience from, the whole woods thing. Jeff, though, gets so freaked out, he finally stands up and says, we're done. You know what? Next time I talk to you guys, I'm going to need a lawyer. Right before Kevin leaves, though, he does tell Jeff, it doesn't have to be like this. There's still time for you and Callie to get out. You don't have to protect Shauna. But Jeff doesn't say a word, and the police leave. Although that night, neither Callie or Jeff can sleep, and they kind of sit down and have a tiny heart-to-heart. Callie's really concerned about what Matt said, the fact that she's not far off from her mother. And that's when Jeff reveals to Callie about what difficulties Shauna went through out in the woods, like losing a baby. Before this, Callie had no idea that she would have been a little sister to a big brother. Callie is visibly upset about it, and Jeff tells her, that's not your issue. That's me and your mother's. Now, this whole time, Shauna was trying to get back to them, but she was stopped by her friends, mainly Van. She told all the girls that the body of Adam Martin was found, and only a few of them know how important that little detail is, like Misty, Ty, and Natalie. For Van and Lottie, they don't quite get why it's a big deal. But it doesn't take many questions for Van to figure out that they had something to do with that guy dying. So when Shauna tries to leave, Van grabs the keys and chucks them. Because they can't leave, they start questioning Shauna on a few of the details. Mainly, why is Jeff the one that's calling? And it forces Shauna to admit that Jeff knows everything, which the girls get pissed at because they kind of had a pact to stay quiet, keep it amongst themselves. But Lottie doesn't want to have these conversations out in the open, so she drags everybody to the sharing shack. And they all have to come out with their truths. Shauna tells the group everything that's going on with the Adam Martin situation. Misty is forced to open up about what happened with Jessica Roberts. And Natalie thinks they're making real progress talking about the issues. And maybe if they open up more about what they dealt with in the woods, it'll help. But Lottie says, no, we're not going to deal with anything talking about it. Something guided you all here. Now, whatever it is we brought back, I tried to bargain with it. I tried to will it away, but it's too powerful. And now we have to give it what it wants. She goes over to the bar and she starts filling up shot glasses. But the shot glasses aren't full of alcohol. One of them is filled with a euthanizer. They use it to euthanize animals. Because Lottie feels like what this darkness has always wanted was one of them to make the ultimate sacrifice and give themselves up. Right away, none of them want to do this. This sounds nuts. But Lottie goes around the room and says, well, Thaisa, you almost killed your wife. Shauna, at this rate, you're going to lose your family. Misty, you already did kill someone. Natalie actually tried to kill herself. And then Van. Van, you used to be so full of life, and now it's like something is broken in you. Van tells Lottie, why don't you drink it? And Lottie shoots back, you know that's not how it works. It will choose one of us, and we won't know until we all drink it. This helped us survive before, and it will help us survive now. We just have to give it what it wants. As all the girls are deciding whether or not to take their Kool-Aid, word has gotten out about Adam Martin, and it's got to the Citizen Detectives group. Many on the page are reveling the fact that it was Shauna who's the lead suspect. They're joking about the fact that she was a cannibal. At least that's the rumor. One person who isn't laughing, though, is Walter. He jumps into action, emailing the police department, "I have some interesting information on your investigation," and then going in the closet, grabbing a purple coat, and heading out. Now, if there were police back in the woods years ago, Shauna would have been arrested for assault because she did a number on Lottie. So much so that they don't know if Lottie's going to make it. She's definitely got internal bleeding, and Misty's doing her best to keep her alive. Misty's so on edge that she actually snaps at Mari for the first time. Mari's always been rude to her, but when Mari makes a crass comment about the smell, Misty just loses her crap, yelling at her and saying that she's always been a little rat. And Mari puts on a tough exterior, but she's also going through it. As she's going downstairs, she drops the bowl and starts crying. Mari, though, isn't the only one. A few of them are going stir-crazy. We know about Thaisa's thing. Even though she's been doing better with sleepwalking, she's seeing visions of her other self. But no one knew about Akila until Thaisa saw Akila talking to something in her hand. And Akila had found a pet mouse a while back in the shed, and she decided to keep it as a friend. But that pet mouse wasn't alive. She just thought it was. It's Thaisa who has to walk over and say, "Akila, you're petting something that's clearly dead." And it was at one point a mouse, but rigor mortis set in. And it's pretty horrifying to Akila. But maybe these visions are brought up on the fact that they're starving. They're resorting to eating belt soup. That's right, leather belts. Because of this, some of them have the impure thought that Lottie dying wouldn't be the worst thing. It's one less mouth to feed. One of these people is Natalie, who tells Ben, and Ben says, yeah, it probably wouldn't be the worst thing if she was put out of her misery. Natalie would also like Lottie to go because she's noticed a change with her teammates. They're all enamored with Lottie. It's like she has this power amongst them. Natalie's really the only one at this point that doesn't buy it. She says even Javi buys it. While Javi doesn't speak, she saw him bowing at a symbol tree. That's what they're calling those trees that are marked with the symbol. Ben gets interested on what tree Javi would be bowing to, so he looks through Javi's sketch pad and finds an interesting item. It looks like a tree's roots. He then starts looking on the map that he created, and he starts searching for this tree. And after a while, he does find it. I mean, it is a cave right out of The Hobbit. It's a hollowed-out tree that underground would keep somebody warm. And there are bones of some kind of animal, so it explains what Javi was up to while he was out in the wilderness missing. But as Ben was making this discovery, another girl was seeing visions, and this time it is Mari. She sees blood pouring out of one of the walls. But when she starts freaking out, the girls snap her out of it, and it's nothing. So the girls are hungry. Most of them are seeing things, and they've got Lottie to deal with. And Lottie knows that her predicament is a tough one to overcome. Because of this, she tells Misty, if I die, don't waste my body, a.k.a. eat me. Misty goes downstairs and relays the message to the group, and they're not ready to let Lottie go. In fact, they think it's imperative that they keep Lottie alive because they feel like the only reason they are alive is because of Lottie. They also know, though, that the wilderness probably wants a sacrifice. So they all agree that they need food, and they need to keep Lottie alive, and they need a sacrifice. They feel like it's only fair that they do this thing randomly. Let the wilderness decide. Van shows everybody a card. It's the Queen of Hearts with her eyes sketched out, and then she starts shuffling the deck. One by one, they go around the room until the wilderness decides that it's Natalie who will be the sacrifice. The one person who doesn't really believe. Shauna is tasked with cutting Natalie's throat. And some of them have these really crazy looks in their eyes as they're waiting for Shauna to do it. Shauna, though, is sketched out by it. It's tough for her to cut one of her teammates' throats as she's looking her in the eye. But Travis doesn't want to allow this to happen. He knocks Shauna over and tells Natalie to get the hell out of there and run. Some of the girls grab Travis and keep him at knife point, while others go running after Natalie into the woods. And it's a pretty crazy sight. You've got Van, you've got Misty, you've got Shauna, you've got Thaisa, Mari, Aquila, a few others, and they're literally hunting their friend. The only person in the woods that is a friendly is Javi, who's the first one to reach Natalie and says, "Come here, I got a place that you can hide out. The others don't know about it." And of course, he's talking about that tree cave. They start running towards it as the group is trying to catch up, but Javi ends up falling through the ice. Natalie doesn't think about herself. She thinks about trying to save Javi. But when the rest of them catch up to Natalie, they don't kill her. They just instead pull Natalie away from saving Javi because they feel like the wilderness has spoken and Javi will end up being the sacrifice. So they all, some mortified, some not, just sit back and watch Javi drown. They then quickly pull up his body, and now they have their sacrifice, but they also have food. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.